The crypto market took a bit of a downturn yesterday, a little bit more aggressive than we first initially thought. And well, things have changed. In today's video, we are going to be taking a look at the technical analysis on BTC, sharing my thoughts and opinions as to where I think that price action is heading next. As I get into today's video, if you do find it useful and informative, smash that like button. If you're new, subscribe, and let's take a look at what's going on here with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin paired up with USDT here on the 1 hour Binance chart. We were hoping to see 61.5 to $62,500. We were looking yesterday for a move down to the 58,784 to 59,069. We smashed straight through there. There was a small bounce to the upside on this 1 hour time frame, as you can kind of see here, with potential for support. But at midnight last night, we basically saw this market completely move down. So although there was a closed position here at a reasonable level, coming in on that close at 59,132 for that weekly close position. Ultimately, today hasn't really fared out any better. Now, we obviously have broken down lower than our expectations on the wave one, so we have now marked our local top at 60,625, and this break to the downside is impulsive. Now, obviously, if you follow Elliott wave theory, an impulsive breakdown is a 5-wave structure. It looks like this. 5-wave drops, really badly drawn there, but 5 waves like so. Okay, we are basically completing out the wave 3 at the moment on this most recent drop. So it will be a relief rally for the wave 4 and then a final drop into the wave 5, which will then be met by a 3-wave correction, and then that will be followed up by an additional 5-wave move to the downside. Minimum expectations on that are that it's a zigzag pattern, which is a 5-3-5, and bearish case, or the bears are going to be hoping more for a impulsive breakdown, which will be a 5-3-5-3-5, and we continue the moves to the downside from there. Okay, I know a lot of people are hoping that maybe this time is going to be different. Lots of kind of speculation around what's going to happen with the interest rates and all of that. We've seen a relief rally, and we're starting to see a lot of nervousness in the market, as kind of expected. So as we kind of take a look at this, we can see a very deep kind of move happening here. Now, if we measure the distance from the 1800 hours last night, or actually on Saturday, the 1800 hours on Saturday, to that peak that we saw up on Friday, well, we can move this over to that structured move that we saw on the Sunday at 1500 hours, and where we can see down here that we have dropped down lower than 1.618. Okay, now our internal structures here tell us that we might have just locally finished, and we might be looking for a relief rally upwards a little bit. And that relief run for BTC isn't going to be all that amazing, I don't think. We have the potential to kind of fall in line a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and snap this into the range of expectations. Again, I'm going to walk you through what they are. So essentially on the low side, we are talking about 58,974. So that's kind of where we typically think the price action is likely to rally to. And on the higher side of expectations, it's $59,400, which would be our wave one low. Okay, now there's a couple of things that can happen here that we need to be very aware of. Okay, so obviously we have our range of expectation. I'm going to clear that other one off. So we have this range here. Now, if this is a 5-wave move, an impulsive one at that, which is obviously a couple of different scenarios that can unfold here, we've either completed the wave 3 right now, which it's possible that we have, but looking at it, I still see the potential for a little bit more volatility here. We'll see how that kind of plays out in the next couple of hours. A relief rally, and then a final drop down. Now, like I said, there's a couple of different ways that this plays out, right? The wave 4 could in fact move up higher than the wave 1 here. That would have to only happen under a diagonal based pattern, and there's many different types of diagonal based patterns that we need to be aware of. We could be looking through the lens of leading diagonal. We could be looking through the lens of an expanding diagonal, which will be a very bearish one. We don't have the grounds for a contracting diagonal, so we don't have to worry about that. So that would happen only if we crossed up higher than the $59,400 level. But if we do not, and we remain just finding this area of resistance, then of course we will be looking for another move to the downside, which I'll give you an approximate target on, coming in towards 57,588 to the 57,911. Okay, that's going to be kind of at the moment our range of expectations here. Okay, now as you can kind of see, this is going to be a pretty bearish time for Bitcoin and for the wider crypto market, with this downturn in the market being more impulsive than just kind of corrective, which we talk about more on the kind of daily timeframes with everything that's going on there. But as we can kind of see, there was a fair value gap on this side that's now being filled out. I'm going to bring up my indicators here so we can see that outside of the price action. Here we can see that we have found brief support on the 200 hourly EMA and equilibrium. The fair value gap that was up here has been filled, and in this lower range is the previous area, so that wave 5 expectation that we just briefly drew on there is coming right in line with this previous area of support and is where the demand is showing here for BTC. There's a couple of fair value gaps sitting a little bit lower. I do suspect we'll grab those at some point in the near future, but nothing that has to happen right now. At the moment, we are lower than the 50 EMA, 50 SMAs. We can see those taking a nice sharp turn to the downside, and we can see that the support on the 200 EMA doesn't look overly strong, with one closed position lower, one closed position higher. No bullish engulfing candles, no keen kind of reversals going on in the market right here at the moment. So we'll keep a close eye on that. If I were to try and trade this, what would we be looking at doing? Potentially going long right around here with the stop loss lower than the previous swing low, but that's on the premise that the wave 3 has finished, and I don't think that's necessarily what has occurred. And I don't think we're going to be able to get a 1.5 risk reward ratio. So going long probably isn't the best of ideas, but there is an opportunity there if you wanted to kind of gamble on the market. I think the bigger opportunity is going to come in while taking a look at this area and seeing if we get a confirmed rejection, maybe from the 50 EMA, 50 SMA, using those as our stop loss and then targeting out that wave 5 low, and then you're going to get a nice risk reward ratio above 1.5. And of course, if I am to be trading like that, I'm going to be trading on BitGet or Blowfin, which are my go-to exchanges for leverage-based trades. If you haven't got accounts for those, check out the links in the description. There's some fantastic sign-up bonuses and deals available if you use those links, exclusive to the Cheeky Crypto community. So for the most part, we're looking, unfortunately, a little bit more on the bearish side. Our stochastic RSIs are showing that there's room to the upside. What we are expecting a little bit of a bounce anyway. So again, we'll keep a close eye on that. If we take a look at the divergence indicator here within the oversold area, we've taken a real nasty turn on the hourly time frame. And again, we're not really seeing a great move out of here just yet. So things can change very quickly. As indicated with the sharp increasing selling pressure here, as we can kind of see, nice sharp increase, but obviously it has decreased as we found this little relief run. So again, it's not showing that there's a huge appetite for buying into BTC at these levels at the moment. But, you know, we are looking for a bit of a relief, so we'll see how that kind of plays out. If I turn off smart money concepts here, you can really kind of take into consideration where we sit with the EMAs and all of that kind of stuff. So for Bitcoin right now on the smaller time frames, expect more volatility, kind of stuff that we've been talking about for a while. We roll this up into our daily time frame. We can see here that we did obviously see the close above the 200 EMA, the 50 EMA, the 50 SMA on the daily time frame, and you can see this def cross loading, right? We've got a closed position yesterday lower than the 200 EMA. If we can close another daily candle here lower than the 200 EMA, that's going to be a big bearish indication of what is to come. And also the def cross, which is the 50 SMA, the yellow line crossing lower than the 200 EMA, is going to signal a little bit of fear in the market. So that's going to happen over the next few days, which will probably coincide with the Federal Reserve's interest rate decision, which we believe to be a bit more of a bearish one. So as you guys know, we were kind of targeting out this low area, out to early part of September. We were looking for the relief rally up towards the 200 EMA, and well, although we did get that close above it, it kind of appears that, yeah, the 200 EMA still remains our resistance levels, even though there's a little bit of a fake to the upside there. Our stochastic RSI on the daily time frame is just about shifting to the downside, so we are looking for bearish momentum to continue. This hasn't changed any way, shape, or form, considering the price action on the smaller time frames. We expect the occasional relief rally here and there, but for the most part, we are still shifting down on the momentum side of things. Now, if we take a look at the divergence indicators, you can see here that we just lost the 50 level of that. So basically, when you're lower than the 50 on the relative strength index, you're bearish, and when you're higher, you're bullish. At the moment, we're 49.43 with plenty of room to the downside. I know it's not what people want to hear, but it is what it is. We can see here that volumes have been actually decreasing during this most recent pull to the downside. So we can look at that as a slight positive, but volumes were actually decreasing on this move to the upside. So again, not showing that huge strength that we need in Bitcoin's price action with great demand for buying. Okay, so as we take a look at this and we zoom out, the overarching structure is of course a bullish one. We're not concerned about the bigger macro picture, but we are still suspecting $40,000 to $44,000, as I have been talking about for a while here, for BTC. It's unfortunate that we couldn't quite rally up higher to the kind of 61.5 to 62.5. Maybe we'll be surprised and we'll just go ahead and tap into that range before we dump. I don't think that'll be the case, but you never know. It's crypto. It's wild west, as they say, so it's possible. But ultimately, we are still looking at lower highs and lower highs on the daily time frame here and lower lows on the daily time frame. The overlapping nature of the candlesticks give me the bullish vibes, but we are of course still going to be targeting out $40,000 to $44,000 before we get into those bigger runs to the upside. Where of course we are still targeting out new all-time highs in 2025. Everything that's been going on here since March is just a precursor to what's going to happen next year, in my opinion. So we're looking strong on Bitcoin, even though the price action might be a little bit scary on the kind of smaller time frames. Long-term holders probably aren't even phased by this. Short-term holders who are a little bit more emotional about every kind of little 3, 4, 5% move in Bitcoin's price action could be a little bit concerned. But we've been talking about this expected move to the downside for a while. Minimum expectations 49,000, suspect 40 to 44,000. And this week I think is going to see a lot of volatility. We're going to see pushes to the upside. We're going to see basically short positions getting squeezed out, and we're going to see dumps to the downside where we see cascading liquidations on the long positions based on bullish news, specifically around kind of the Fed interest rates and things like that. But ultimately, we are still looking for those moves to the downside. Nothing really has changed. We are just starting to see more volatility back in the market for Bitcoin, which is kind of in line with all of our expectations when it comes to the price action. But guys, those are my thoughts on BTC. What are yours? Let me know in the comments down below, or join us in our free Discord server. We can continue the conversations down there. And if you found today's video useful and informative, smash the like button. If you're new, subscribe. And if you haven't done so already, check this video out right here. It's not one you're going to want to miss.